Drama starts with female lead, Yoon Seo, top actress who is facing tough time. She's caught in drug abuse case. Later, it's revealed that although she was proven innocent, her reputation in industry was tarnished. A clean image is essential in this industry, and since her image was damaged, she hasn't been able to land any major projects. Once reigning queen of industry, she's now living life of anonymity. When Yoon Seo hears news about her situation, she seems disheartened. However, she assures manager that she's not that weak and claims she was just taking her multivitamins. Her manager tries to encouraging her that she'll soon get big project. At that moment, Yoon Seo notices major drama script in her manager's hands. She snatches it from him and secretly reads it in restroom. Drama, titled Love Hurts, was written by famous writer. While reading, she starts imagining herself as lead character and feels ecstatic. She becomes determined to secure this role at all costs. Coming out of restroom, Yoon Seo tells her manager, "This role is made for me. I'm perfect for it. Besides, lead character in drama is lawyer, and I've studied law too." Her manager takes script back and says, "This isn't for you. It's meant for Minji." But Yoon Seo isn't one to give up easily. She insists, "I'll speak to writer myself." Through her contacts, she manages to arrange meeting with writer. During meeting, writer bluntly tells her, "Your acting isn't that extraordinary. You got roles before because you were at your peak, but now you're not." Despite Yoon Seo's attempts to convince writer, she is given seemingly impossible condition. Work as secretary at law firm for some time and gain experience. Try to immerse yourself in this role. After that, we might consider you. Initially, Yoon Seo feels insulted by suggestion. She goes to CEO of her agency to complain, saying, "Can anyone insult me like this?" However, CEO Jun Seok advises her, "If you really want this role, I know many friends in law firms and can help place you somewhere." Reluctantly, Yoon Seo agreed. Mr. Jun Seok contacts one of his friends, attorney Yu, CEO of prominent law firm, and requests him to provide Yoon Seo with job training under one of their attorneys. Upon hearing this, attorney Yu, who is secretly big fan of Yoon Seo, starts imagining how he'll greet her when she starts working at his office. Attorney Yu considers his firm's attorneys to determine who should supervise Yoon Seo. Among options are attorney Choi, who's mama's boy, and attorney Moon, whose heart breaks every few days. Finding neither suitable, attorney Yu decides on firm's star attorney, Jung Rock, male lead of drama. Jung Rock, much like Yoon Seo was in acting world, is star in legal world. Attorney Yu tries to convince Jung Rock to take Yoon Seo under his wing, but when Jung Rock learns that Yoon Seo never completed her law degree and dropped out shortly after admission, he seems hesitant to agree. Even though person denies it, CEO Yoon starts emotionally blackmailing them, saying that girl has no work and her career has been destroyed. He also reminds them of 5-year-old incident. Hearing this, Jung Rock becomes emotional and, in end, agrees to arrangement on condition that if she chooses to quit herself, no one will stop her or say anything to her. Jung Rock's plan was to be so strict with her that she would be forced to quit on her own. Finally, day arrives when Yoon Seo is supposed to join. CEO Yoon, all dressed up and holding bouquet, is ready to welcome her. Jung Rock had agreed to hire her on condition that she would quit on her own. Yoon Seo enters office, stepping out of elevator, leaving everyone stunned. She didn't look like someone coming to work. She looked like she was there for modeling photo shoot. She looked stunning, and her aura matched grand welcome prepared by CEO Yoon. However, when she approaches Jung Rock, he doesn't give her any attention. In fact, Jung Rock even mispronounces her name. Hearing this, Yoon Seo is shocked that someone who she's going to work under doesn't even know her name properly. She tries to remind him by showcasing products she modeled in numerous advertisements, but Jung Rock isn't interested at all. He doesn't even glance at her and tells her to stop and warns her never to be late to work because he doesn't like latecomers. Yoon Seo, upset, goes to her desk and thinks all lawyers must be this rude. Later, call comes in for attorney Jung Rock, and she tries to attend it but doesn't know how to transfer call. Frustrated, Jung Rock scolds her for this and gives her some files to scan. However, when files fall, she struggles to pick them up due to her short dress. Jung Rock himself ends up helping, but leaves saying, "You're here, so just relax. Don't pick up any calls or do anything else." Later, CEO Yoon suggests hosting welcome lunch for Yoon-seo. Everyone is excited, but Yoon-seo declines, saying she cannot leave her boss because she is his secretary. Time passes, and she gets hungry, so she approaches Young-rok, saying it's been 20 minutes since lunch started. He tells her to go have lunch, but she feels insulted and says she has never eaten alone before. She worries people will gossip that her career is over, and now she's completely alone. Jung-rok coldly tells her to order lunch at office, breaking her heart. She quietly makes herself an instant coffee. Meanwhile, Jung-rok, on his way back, feels little concerned for Yoon-seo and gets food packed for her. But when he returns, he sees many colleagues gathered around Yoon-seo's desk. Angry, he dismisses everyone and scolds Yoon-seo. He reminds her that while she may be famous on TV, this is real life, and she must work properly or leave. He also tells her to dress more elegantly in future. First time in her life, someone insults Yoon-seo like this. She gets furious and lets out her frustration in washroom. Later, she overhears Jung-rok on phone saying, "I don't think this secretary will last week. She's hopeless." Hearing this crushes her even more. Upon hearing this, she felt even more insulted. On her way back, she told her manager that she didn't want role if it meant tolerating such person. However, while returning, she saw Shoot in Progress, which reminded her peak days of fame. She resolved to reclaim her lost popularity. When she got home, she cried for a while, but soon gathered her courage. Next day, her manager found her asleep at her desk. It turned out that she had spent entire night researching work-related matters to appear knowledgeable and prove herself as competent secretary. She was determined to do well and arrived at office on time following day. Meanwhile, Jung-rok was visiting his lawyer friend, Yoo Ryo-em, and their bond seemed strong. During their meeting, he discovered that his secretary was none other than Yoon-seo. Because of this meeting, he arrived at office late, but by time he got there, Yoon-seo had already trained herself on various tasks, such as call forwarding, using printer, and other secretarial duties. She even made detailed list of tasks to improve her performance. When Jung-rok finally arrived at office, he was surprised to see Yoon-seo formally dressed and complimented her, saying she looked better. Yoon-seo proudly informed him that she had also cleaned and tidied his desk. However, instead of being impressed, Jung-rok began looking for missing file and scolded her, accusing her of touching items on his desk. File was important, and without fault, Yoon-seo was scolded again. Frustrated, she asked if he hated women. He replied that he liked women, but found her particularly annoying. Later, Attorney Choi visited Jung-rok and handed him missing file, explaining that he had taken it without informing Jung-rok. Realizing he had unfairly reprimanded Yoon-seo, Jung-rok went to her to clarify. Yoon-seo expected an apology, but instead, Jung-rok warned her not to arrange his desk again. Elsewhere, Yoo Ryo-em's office introduced new attorney, Mr. Kim, who appeared to be her ex-lover. Back at Yoon-seo's office, her colleagues hosted welcome party for her. Her manager advised her not to drink excessively. Yoon-seo, confident in her self-control, ended up intoxicated after just 2 drinks. Drunk and furious, she kept yelling Jung-rok's name, vowing to confront him. Jung-rok had been invited to dinner, but was delayed by client meeting. As he arrived at office, Yoon-seo, still drunk, approached him to speak. However, Jung-rok stepped back, letting her embarrass herself further. She was furious, thinking he could have saved her from humiliation, but instead chose to dodge. At home, we learn that Mr. Kim, friend of Jung-rok, had come to stay temporarily. Next day, Yoon-seo mustered courage to return to work, anticipating how her colleagues might react to previous night's events. He used to say that whatever she hears, she remembers immediately. After that, as they were leaving, he offers to take her out for dinner. Hearing this, she gets worried and asks, "Is this my farewell dinner? Otherwise, why would you invite me for dinner?" But he replies, "Silly, there's nothing like that." He takes her to a small restaurant, thinking no one would recognize her. However, there were 2 posters of her displayed there, and people were talking about her, saying that she was fallen star. Jung-rok feels that her heart must have been broken, but she remains strong and says, "People gossip and make hateful comments about me all time. I'm used to it." Hearing this, Jung-rok feels good, and as they leave, he says, "Until today, I didn't accept you as my secretary, but from now on, I do." and he extends his hand for handshake. Yoon continues moving forward, but she almost falls again. This time, Yoongrok catches her and says, "See? I didn't dodge this time." Scene becomes so romantic. Yoon becomes nervous and she forgets path to her house. Meanwhile, when Yoongrok gets home, his friend Kim Musi starts teasing him, saying that he heard Yoongrok has beautiful secretary who was once Star. When he starts teasing Yoongrok replies, "I've never seen her in that way." Next morning, Yoon happily arrives at office, unaware that her real challenge is about to begin. Since Yoongrok has now officially accepted her as his secretary, he gives her a lot of difficult tasks, and she ends up feeling exhausted. She wishes she hadn't gone to dinner with him, and for a moment, she considers quitting everything. However, she remembers how much she wants this role and decides she will do whatever it takes to keep it. Next day, Yoongrok tells her that they have meeting and she has to come with him, but warns her that she might not be recognized because one of lawyers is big fan of hers. She happily asks, "Should I make mole on my face so I won't be recognized?" But Yoongrok replies that mole won't be enough. He arranges her appearance so perfectly that no one will recognize her, not even herself in mirror. During this, he also keeps her from eating, saying she has gained 3 kilos, which is why she's on light diet. While they are outside, lawyer who is fan of hers starts talking to Yoon and he recognizes her neckline. Despite being fan, he starts to suspect her. However, just as he is about to reveal her identity, Yoongrok arrives, stops him, and says, "You cannot touch my secretary." He takes Yoon away. Yoongrok, feeling sorry for her, then takes her to a restaurant and orders a lot of food for her. She eats happily, and Yoongrok feels that she looks sweet as she enjoys her meal. Next day, Yoon goes to court with lawyer Choi, who boasts about his accomplishments and shows her some cases. However, when it's time for him to fight case, he loses. Yoon finds it funny and realizes that in this law firm, when it comes to both personality and skills, no one can compare to Yoongrok. Later, Yoongrok gets new case involving high school girl. Yoon suggests he take case, but after hearing about girl in hearing, she believes girl is guilty. However, Yoongrok says, "Judge will decide whether she is guilty or not us." Yoongrok takes case. Later, when client comes to office with her lawyer, she behaves rudely, not cooperating with them. Yoon, who cannot tolerate it, steps in and tells her, "If you cooperate, someone will help you." Before fight can escalate, Yoongrok takes Yoon aside and says, "When client and her attorney are not cooperating." While they were talking, secretary had no work there, and Jang Rook scolded Yoon Seo, telling her that if she wanted to be in law field, she needed to put her emotions aside. Yoon Seo felt bad about it because she was only trying to help. Jang Rook, too, realizes that Yoon Seo was new and he had been too harsh with her. For next 2 to 3 days, they keep their distance and whole office sense that something is wrong between them. Slowly, Yoon Seo learns more about her story. Actually, her parents weren't with her. Her mother had left her, and her father was too busy with his life to care. She had to manage on her own. Yoon Seo had even done some research through her agency. She found out that girl was former pop idol trainee and had fraud case against her. Yoon Seo starts thinking that fraud charges were wrong, and girl had only been seeking attention due to loneliness. One day, when she leaves agency, Yoon Seo sees her manager who had been lying to her, saying he was away for military training, but in reality, he was working for her rival, Min Ji. This causes huge fight between two. After a lot of struggle, manager manages to stop their catfight and apologizes to Yoon Seo. She tells him that this is his last chance. Then Yoon Seo finds out that same girl has been arrested and her lawyer has to go to police station immediately. Secretary accompanies her boss. They manage to get her out on bail and take her out for meal. At one point, when Jang Rook steps aside, Yoon Seo talks to girl and tries to console her. She tells her, "I am fallen star, you know that well, but I still have strength to shine again. That's why I am working so hard. If you couldn't become pop idol, why are you ruining your career with this fraud case?" Yoon Seo comforts girl and gives her strength to rise again. Girl tells Jang Rook that she didn't commit any fraud. Now, Jang Rook fights her case properly, and with girl's full cooperation, it looks like they might win. Afterward, Jang Rook thanks Yoon Seo and says, "You were right." She is surprised to hear this praise from him and jokingly asks him to say it again. In that moment, his scarf blows away, and he gives it back to her, saying, "You did really well, Yunseo." For Yunseo, that was enough to feel happy. She starts working with even more passion. She had even requested Jang Ruk to teach her some basic legal terms over weekend. Jang Ruk agrees, but when manager hears this, he gets worried. Not for Yunseo, but for Jang Ruk, because he had already put up with her for 5 days. Later, Yunseo tries on several dresses and looks stunning in red one. She is ready for meeting at university classroom with Jang Ruk. Yunseo thinks he might want to spend some time alone with her, imagining how romantic it would be to study together. But scene turns out to be anything but not romantic. Jang Ruk stands at board like teacher, explaining things to her. She was studying, but in end, all she could do was work herself out. She wanted to refresh herself, so she suggested that they go to drive-in theater to watch new legal movie. But she found out that Jang Ruk had been so busy that last movie he watched was 10 years ago. Eventually, he agrees to go with Yunseo, and during movie, Yunseo keeps asking him questions about legal film, so it doesn't seem like she's just spending time with him. While talking, Yunseo's hand accidentally bumps into Jang Ruk's, and she immediately gets embarrassed and says, "Don't think I'm trying to take advantage of you. It happened by mistake." After a little while, Jang Ruk steps outside and girl talks to him. Yunseo gets jealous and later asks him, "What did she say to you?" Jang Ruk tells her that girl asked if he was single so that she could take his number, but Jang Ruk, despite being single, didn't give her his number because he wasn't available. Upon hearing this, Yunseo feels inexplicably happy and gets lost in her thoughts. Seeing this, smile appears on Jang Ruk's face, which is first time she's seeing him smiling. When Jang Ruk returns home, Kim is ready to tease him after seeing theater ticket, asking with whom he went, mentioning his beautiful secretary. Meanwhile, Yunseo remembers all times Jang Ruk had done something special for her and won her heart. She thinks to herself that although he is sweet from inside. Next day, Jang Ruk and Yunseo meet with woman named Yurim, who invites Jang Ruk for coffee. From their closeness, Yunseo realizes that Yurim knows Jang Ruk very well, even his likes and dislikes, and they talk about childhood memories. Jang Ruk smiles many times during conversation, and Yunseo gets jealous. She says to him as they leave, "Why do you smile so much? Just last night you said you like smiling, but there is limit to how much you should smile." Jang Ruk is surprised by what she says and is left confused. When it's time to leave, Jang Ruk tells her she can go. Yunseo leaves without saying goodbye. Later, she shares all this with her manager, who says, "Why are you thinking like this? He can smile with whoever he wants and be friends with whoever he likes. Are you falling for him? If you didn't like him, why are you jealous?" Next day, Jang Ruk has new client, woman who shares that her ex-boyfriend has been stalking her and causing her harassment. He even used to sneak into her house, and while they were in relationship, he would put sleeping pills in her drink to check her phone and belongings. Hearing this, Yunseo becomes upset, as it reminds her of when she was falsely accused in drug case because she rejected powerful CEO named Mr. Lee. He had taken revenge on her by framing her in case. Yunseo is proven innocent, but her image remains damaged forever. After hearing this, Yoongrok feels deep sympathy for her and begins to understand that even though she appears bubbly, she has endured lot. From next day, his behavior towards her becomes more polite. He even sends her to meet same client next day. However, when she arrives at client's house, she finds her ex-boyfriend hiding under table, and he attacks both of them. Just in time, Yoongrok arrives and protects her like hero, saving her. Yunseo is terrified by incident. Yoongrok reassures her, telling her attacker has been arrested and there is no need to fear. He indirectly tells her that victim doesn't need to suffer, one who traps them will face disgrace. During fight, Yoongrok gets small scratch on his neck, and Yunseo applies medicine on it. As they get very close, both feel uncomfortable. Later, at home, Yunseo thanks him, and Yoongrok says she helped by applying medicine. Next morning, first message Yunseo receives is from Yoongrok, telling her that he'll be an hour late. When Yoongrok arrives at office, he notices major change. Everything on his secretary's desk is pink. Yunseo explains that since he allowed her to wear colorful clothes, she thought it would be nice to make everything more colorful for spring. When he sees her desk, it's also filled with pink, which she says will cheer him up despite knowing he prefers dark colors. Young-rok, feeling overwhelmed by pink, tells her to remove it all. As she leaves heart-shaped pink sticky notes, telling him to keep them at least. Their relationship becomes more fun as they communicate through these heart-shaped sticky notes rather than talking directly. This romantic gesture leads to many notes being exchanged, each reminder of other. Yoon Se-yo begins to develop feelings for him, even to point where she eats oranges while saying, he loves me not." When he takes her to court, Yoon Se-yo is impressed by his confidence, likening him to lead character in drama. Later, prosecutor Yuriem arrives, and Yoon Se-yo tries to get Jung-rok to join her for lunch without Yuriem noticing. However, Yuriem sees them, and then she tells Jung-rok that she has something important to discuss with him, including sharing secret. Jung-rok tells Yoon Se-yo to go to office while he goes with Yuriem, which causes Yoon Se-yo to feel heartbroken and jealous. In reality, Yuriem wanted to discuss case with him, and both are involved in it, Yuriem as prosecutor and Jung-rok as attorney. After discussing case, Jung-rok hurriedly leaves, worried about whether Yoon Se-yo had eaten yet. As soon as he arrives, he tells her, "We still have 20 minutes, let's go for lunch." But Yoon Se-yo, clearly angry, replies, "I'm also taking back shaped sticky notes because you didn't like them." Jung-rok is confused as to why she's overreacting and asks, "Why are you staring at me like that?" She responds, "An actress should be beautiful, and I am too beautiful. Even camera gets mesmerized, and so do you." Later that evening, Jung-rok tries to make up and asks, "You seem upset. Did I fail to keep our lunch promise?" She replies, "Article 17 of Constitution gives me right to privacy, and I can keep it." Jung-rok is impressed by her knowledge of articles. She then asks him meaningful question. "Which movie, one we watched together or one you saw 10 years ago, holds more memories for you?" He praises both, which makes her so upset that she shouts "mean" at him and storms off. Next day, at dinner with colleagues, Jung-rok goes straight to his seat, clearly because of Yoon Se-yo. He announces, "I'm here for this dinner because I wanted to meet Yoon Se-yo and clear up some misunderstandings. She's upset with me." Everyone is shocked and asks, "Is something going on between you two?" Yoon Se-yo is surprised. She didn't expect Jung-rok to bring this up in front of everyone. Jung-rok continues, "Let's be open here. Are you upset because we didn't have lunch, or because I gave you too much work, or because I didn't let you decorate office in pink? If majority says I'm wrong, I'll accept it. But if you're wrong, you should admit it." Yoon Se-yo, still stunned, dismisses it by saying, "Nothing like that, actually. I was just acting sensitive because I was really hungry." She then starts eating. Later, Yoon Se-yo is so upset that she drinks and later confronts Jung-rok privately, scolding him for revealing their conversation to everyone. "Was this trial for your case? When will you start behaving normally?" He replies, "Our misunderstanding is cleared, right?" She snaps, "Cleared? You had audacity to go have pasta without me. You know how much I love pasta." He says, "Okay, I'll make sure to feed you pasta tomorrow." She responds, "It's not about pasta. I don't care about that. It's fact that you went with someone else." Drunk and frustrated, she starts rambling and crying. Jung-rok is left stunned. At home, Jung-rok asks Kim, "If someone gets angry because you had pasta with someone else, does that mean she likes you?" He spends entire night thinking about this. Next day, Yoon Se-yo, embarrassed, apologizes. "Please don't misunderstand. Just like best friends get upset when they are ignored, that's what happened. We're best friends at this law firm, right?" Later, Jung-rok gets new case related to detention center. He invites Yoon Se-yo to join him for meeting with accused. Yoon Se-yo prepares all night and is ready next morning, thinking they would be going together for long drive. She compliments his tie and Jung-rok. He praises her necklace, and also he had prepared lunch boxes. On their way, during lunchtime, they sit together in beautiful spot to enjoy their meal. It was really cold, so while heading back, Yoon Se-yo starts feeling cold, and Jung-rok tells her that she can warm her hands in his pockets. But he meant for her to put her hands in his pockets, while she, thinking it differently, puts her hands in her own pockets. Later, Jung-rok tells Yoon Se-yo that it's very cold, so she should take car keys and take round to enjoy beautiful scenery, so she doesn't feel cold and gets some rest. Young-rock cared lot for her. When he returns little later, he finds Yoon-seo has fallen asleep. She looks so cute to him, and he doesn't wake her up. When she wakes up, she asks, "Did I disturb you?" He replies, "No, you were just snoring little." Hearing that makes her embarrassed, as she can't believe she snored. Young-rock tries to ease her by saying it's natural. Still, she gets off car, embarrassed. Afterward, there's court hearing, where Yoon-seo and Young-rock are on opposite sides. One argues that murder happened in self-defense, while other claims it was intentional. Case gets very heated, and after hearing, Yoon-seo and Young-rock have an argument outside court. Young-rock is wealthy due to his career as lawyer, while Yoon-seo is just prosecutor. Before parting, Yoon-seo tells him that even though he might have made a lot of money, he won't win Case. Their argument leaves Young-rock upset, and negative comments about Case are circulating on social media. However, someone who supports him is Yoon-seo, who encourages him to stay firm and not listen to others. Her words mean a lot to him, and as he leaves, he tells her, "What you said in support of me today, I really appreciated it. Remember, whenever you feel alone in this world, there will be someone standing with you, and that someone is me." Yoon-seo is very happy to hear this, and Young-rock then asks, "By way, do you like me?" Yoon-seo is too flustered to respond, as she misheard him earlier. Young-rock tries to clarify by asking her if she would like to try special meat at shop, which helps Yoon-seo realize she misunderstood. Though she agrees to eat with him, she feels embarrassed and even a bit angry that he didn't directly ask her about liking him. She starts teasing him, saying it seems like he's never dated anyone before or been in love. Young-rock says, "That's what I thought about you too." But Yoon-seo retorts that she was actually host on popular dating show and everyone took her tips. Young-rock searches online and finds out that Yoon-seo has never had boyfriend and has led an extremely single life. He then tries to change subject by putting piece of salad in her mouth to stop her from talking. Next day, at office, there's a lot of work, and Young-rock has to work overtime. Yoon-seo wants to stay and help him, but he tells her to leave. Just then, she gets call from her manager, and way they talk so casually makes Young-rock feel jealous. He quickly heads to elevator to see who she's with. When they are in elevator, lights go off due to malfunction, and Young-rock steps closer to her to comfort her as she gets scared. When security guard finally opens door, he sees how close they were, and Yoon-seo gets embarrassed. She had been working harder than usual. While Young-rock was arguing with her, manager had mistakenly referred to Yoon-seo as his girlfriend. This kept repeating in Young-rock's mind, and he started wondering if Yoon-seo might actually be his girlfriend. Next day, Young-rock asked her, "Yesterday, your boyfriend accused me of overworking you. Is he really your boyfriend?" She responded, "He's not my boyfriend, and he never could be. He's just my cousin." She couldn't tell him about manager because she had to keep her career confidential. Later, rumors started circulating in office that security guard had seen two of their colleagues in elevator, looking like they were involved in romantic moment. Description of their appearances seemed to match Young-rock and Yoon-seo, which made Yoon-seo extremely uncomfortable. She quickly denied it, saying, "No, it wasn't us." Office people, however, didn't believe her and joked, "Of course it wasn't you two. You're always fighting." Next day, Young-rock went to crime scene to gather some evidence and noticed few things. Yoon-seo accompanied him, but there was some danger. Young-rock was attacked from behind, and although he was injured, he managed to catch attacker and have him arrested by police. Yoon-seo was deeply concerned when she saw his blood and started crying. Young-rock reassured her, "It's just small injury. Please calm down and go home. If you stay here, media will bother you." Despite his request, Yoon-seo waited for him outside police station. When he was free, she took him to hospital, hiding her face. Young-rock thanked her, saying, "You really care about me." But Yoon-seo replied, "I'm not worried about you. I'm concerned about myself. I'm your secretary, and I couldn't leave you alone in trouble." Before leaving, Yoon-seo made him promise not to work and to rest for day. Next day, Yoon-seo and CEO were in office with Young-rock. Yoon-seo said, "I was so scared yesterday. If that man had hit you on head, you might not have survived. I'm glad it didn't happen." Then, Yoon-seo and CEO started teasing Young-rock, saying that while he was mentally strong and could win cases, he wasn't physically strong. Jung-rock seemed annoyed and decided to get back at them. When he entered office, Yoon-seo offered him drink, saying, "This is an energizing potion. Do you feel any better?" Hearing this, Jung-rock got angry and said, "If you don't stop saying things like that, I'll take you to court for slander." Yoon-seo realized it was time to stop and decided to drop matter. Case hearing was taking place, and Jung-rock presented strong arguments, forcing opposing side to admit that murder wasn't committed by woman, but by person they were accusing. Jung-rock won case, while Yoon-seo lost hers. Everyone congratulated Jung-rock, but there was no happiness on his face. Yoon-seo noticed this and suggested they go for meal to celebrate his win. As they sat down, she tried to figure out why he looked so sad. She thought it might be because of her losing case. On their way back, Jung-rock said, "That day, you had your hands in your pockets. Today, if your hands are cold, my pockets are always here to warm them. I don't know why, but I really care about you." Yoon-seo constantly thinks about Jung-rock, and she is certain that he likes her. One day, she finds bouquet on his desk and thinks that he is about to propose to her. However, she later discovers that bouquet was gift to celebrate his case win. As she attends presentation later, she imagines that Jung-rock might want to confess his love, but nothing happens. Feeling dejected, she goes home, drinks to numb her feelings, and ends up calling Jung-rock to confess her love. Jung-rock is shocked by her sudden confession, especially because she is drunk. Next morning, Yoon-seo feels embarrassed about her actions. She takes day off from work, and everyone assumes something is wrong. Jung-rock, understanding situation, does some research and finds out that Yoon-seo once mentioned in an interview that she wanted her love confession in form of handwritten letter. Jung-rock decides to write her most romantic love letter. He goes to chicken shop where they once ate together, and by chance, Yoon-seo also arrives there at same time. Jung-rock recognizes her, even though she tries to hide. He catches up with her, takes her to park, and gives her letter, asking her to read it later. When she opens it, she finds hearts drawn on it and simply reads, "Let's date." Yes. She accepts his proposal. They plan to meet for dinner that night, but when Jung-rock sees his friend Yeryom collapse outside court, he rushes to hospital with her. He explains to Yoon-seo that they will go on their date tomorrow. Next day at office, Yoon-seo finds out that her boyfriend, Jung-rock, has been reassigned by CEO to work under Mr. Choi. She believes it is because Jung-rock had been overloaded with work. Meanwhile, Yoon-seo faces some complications at law firm as she finds herself in confrontation with an actress who is her rival. Actress doesn't want to see Yoon-seo working at same firm, which adds more tension to situation. She says there's no need to hide your face because people have lost interest in you. This really upsets Yoon-seo, and she doesn't even want to go to date. However, Jung-rock feels that as her boyfriend, he should make her happy, so he arrives at her place to surprise her. Seeing him like this, Yoon-seo feels happy, and he takes her on date. He tells her that he isn't very experienced with dating, but he will try to always keep her happy. At this point, Yoon-seo asks Jung-rock if he genuinely likes her or if he's with her because of her confession. Jung-rock stops her before she leaves and tells her that he loves her, and not just little, but lot. Next day, Yoon-seo talks to CEO and manages to transfer herself back. Meanwhile, Jung-rock goes to office after visiting court, where Yeryom tells him that she wants to meet him for drinks that evening. He agrees. When he arrives back, he's happy to see his girlfriend, and even more so when he finds out that Yoon-seo has booked romantic dinner table for them. But when Yoon-seo hears that he is going to meet Yeryom, she gets upset and says she booked table for him and Miss Moon, as they are very good friends. Later, at dinner, Yoon-seo is sitting with Miss Moon, gossiping, while Jung-rock thinks about how his romantic time with his girlfriend has turned into this. Miss Moon tells Yoon-seo that she had heard during their college days that Yeryom liked Jung-rock, but there was love triangle, and there was also someone named Mr. Kim involved. Eventually, Yeryom and Mr. Kim became couple, and Jung-rock was left heartbroken. She suggests that maybe Jung-rock still likes Yeryom. This information completely ruins Yoon-seo's mood, and she calls Jung-rock angrily, wanting to meet him immediately. When she confronts him about his past feelings for Yeryom, he clears things up by saying that yes, he once liked Yeryom, but back then, he was just student. Now, he is serious, and Yeryom is just friend. He admits that she was one he truly liked. Kim, who is also fan of Yoon Se-yo, clears up misunderstanding further, and Yoon Se-yo finally understands that Young-rok is being honest. Next day, she arrives in luxury car to pick him up, but Young-rok drives because he knows his girlfriend isn't best driver. A long way, he holds her hand. Later, they find out that some interns at Young-rok's office turn out to be big fans of Yoon Se-yo. She says that after long time, she feels like she is star again. Office is also planning trip, and Yoon Se-yo is most excited because it's been long time since she went on trip with her friends and colleagues. Young-rok is coming with her. On trip, while Young-rok tries to get something special for Yoon Se-yo. Even CEO brings whole cart of fish cakes for everyone. Throughout trip, whenever Young-rok tries to do something romantic for Yoon Se-yo, others are already ahead of him, which makes him feel frustrated and even little jealous. Many people were given different awards for their good performance, and of course, Best New Worker Award went to Yoon Se-yo. She felt like it had been long time since she received an award, so she thought she should give speech. She felt very happy, and after that, she had made a lot of friends. Boys were sitting on one side, and they were all saying that Jang-ruk spends whole day with Yoon Se-yo, but still, it's us who take most care of her. Jang-ruk is not even capable of looking after beautiful girls. But little did they know that Jang-ruk had already become boyfriend of that beautiful girl. Later, Jang-ruk meets Yoon Se-yo and gives her lucky charm mirror that had gone missing. He tells her that at least he could do something for her all day, and he also says, "I love you, and I get jealous when all these people surround you and don't let me take care of you." Word jealous sounded so cute coming out of his mouth that Yoon Se-yo kisses him. Afterward, Jang-ruk kisses her back and says, "I don't need permission for this. It's my right." Now, they return from trip, and their days continue happily. Yoon Se-yo starts to worry a bit because she only had one more month left for her training, and she wanted to tell Jang-ruk truth about why she was there for training, for her next project, which she had kept as secret. But every time she tried to tell him, something would go wrong. One day, Yoon Se-yo talks about her favorite drama, and that night, Jang-ruk watches it. When Yoon Se-yo appears in front of him, he can't hold back and immediately kisses her, saying that she looked so beautiful in drama. One day, Yoon Se-yo tells Jang-ruk that she skipped lunch because he wasn't there. She says she's not used to eating alone. Jang-ruk tells her that she should get used to it. Then, he trains her on how to eat alone. Later, Yoon Se-yo consults her manager, saying she wants to tell Jang-ruk that she's training for drama project, but her manager stops her, saying that it's confidential and should not be shared. Next day, they find out that one of their colleagues has bullying case, and Jang-ruk offers to take it up. However, teenager is not speaking out. Yoon Se-yo discusses issue with her, and Jang-ruk helps mend bond between mother and daughter and handles case. A major turning point in drama happens when Mr. Lee Gang, who had once framed Yoon Se-yo in scandal 3 years ago and left country, returns. Upon his return, Yoon Se-yo's agency's CEO and manager are scared because he sends Yoon Se-yo gift, indicating that he will stalk and harass her again. Yoon Se-yo remains completely unaware of this and has no idea that storm that had stopped 3 years ago is now following her again. One evening, after an office dinner, Jang-ruk comes to drop Yoon Se-yo off at her place. He stands outside her house, looks at her, and says goodnight, while someone is watching them live. Mr. Lee Gang starts stalking Yoon Se-yo again. Next day, Jang-ruk and Yoon Se-yo are sitting with their colleagues, trying to romance secretly, but they get caught. Yoon Se-yo pretends that something got in her eye to cover up situation. Meanwhile, one of their colleagues starts suspecting something. They go to stage to secretly kiss, but just then, someone comes from above, and they pretend to discuss work. They were both enjoying their secret office romance, and one day, Yoon Se says to Young-rok that she'll be waiting for him at her house next day, and they'll watch a movie together. Young-rok is very excited, and Yoon Se feels same. Next day, he arrives at her house, and both of them are feeling nervous and shy. He even brought wine for her, thinking it would help her sleep well at night. They both start to wonder if he's planning to stay night, but after a while, they realize their movie plan might not happen since DVD player wasn't working. It had been sent for repairs. Watching movie on laptop didn't seem enjoyable either. So, they spend time simply enjoying each other's company. That night, they drink wine together, and as they have little, Yoon Se starts to share her feelings, saying that she was so nervous about him coming over and imagining what they would do. Youngrok leans in and kisses her in candlelight, asking, "Is this what you were imagining?" After spending quality time together, scene shifts, and next day, Yunse can't stop thinking about that kiss. However, her manager warns her to be careful, wondering if anyone is following her or if something feels off. In parking, she notices an older man following her and assumes he's one her manager warned her about. She argues with him and rushes to her office, only to later find out that man was actually Youngrok's father, her future father-in-law. She's embarrassed by bad impression she made in front of him. Youngrok, who doesn't have great relationship with his father, leaves angrily after meeting. However, Youngrok soon learns that his father had been suspended from his job, and he had come to discuss it with his son. Youngrok goes to his father's office to talk things through, clears up misunderstanding, and promises to support him. Yunse feels guilty about awkward situation with Youngrok's father, but Youngrok reassures her that she's great person, and his father will eventually like her. Yunse then tells him to take good care of his father and sends some stress relief potion for him. Youngrok delivers it to his father, and he's surprised at how caring his son has become. However, when Youngrok's father hears phone conversation between them, he realizes that Yunse is not just his secretary, but his girlfriend. A few days later, Youngrok arranges meeting between Yunse and his father. They all have dinner together, and Yunse tries her best to act polite, but Youngrok sides with her, explaining how misunderstanding happened. He talks about it as if he's arguing in front of judge, and Yunse feels embarrassed. In end, his father accepts her, and Yunse is very happy. Afterward, Youngrok gives her cute necklace as gift. Later, as Youngrok drives Yunse home, she notices car following them. Youngrok also realizes that something is off. Car suddenly stops in front of them, blocking their way, and out steps Li Gang, causing Yunse to panic. Youngrok steps out of car to talk to him, and while Yunse is scared, Li Gang keeps staring at her with meaningful eyes. After brief conversation, he tells Youngrok that he thought someone else was following them. Both parties continue on their way, but Yunse is still very shaken by encounter. Path opens, but Youngrok understands who Li Gang is. He asks Yunse about him, and at that moment, message comes on Yunse's phone. It's from Li Gang, and he says, "Seeing you happy with someone else makes me feel like you're cheating on me." Youngrok gets very angry and wants to take action, but Yunse stops him. She says, "I've already suffered so much because of all this, and I don't want to get caught up in scandals again. I don't want to be associated with this." Yunse then tells him whole story. She explains that Li Gang was possessive fan who seemed crazy about her from start, especially because of her looks. Initially, he met her as an investor and said he was fan, but once he spiked her drink with drugs, causing her to lose consciousness. While she was asleep, he just sat there staring at her for hours. Because of this, she started avoiding him, thinking he was crazy and obsessive. However, after some time, he indirectly called her when she was trying to avoid him and repeatedly shouted, "I love you, believe me." Then, narcotics department raided place, and Li Gang was arrested for drug-related charges. Yunse got caught in scandal as well, but she was proven innocent. Youngrok is upset upon hearing this and stays at her house to take care of her. She sleeps on bed, and he sets up his bed on floor. Next morning, she makes breakfast for him and appears happy. She seems fine, but in reality, she is just pretending for Youngrok's sake. News of Li Gang's return has consumed her thoughts, and she has developed phobia of him. He had already ruined her life once, and now, just as she was about to restart, he's back again. To cheer her up, Youngrok takes her to an amusement park. But while riding swings, Youngrok feels extremely unwell and starts getting dizzy. He continues to take care of Yunse, trying to cheer her up, but everything he does backfires. Fireworks he brought don't work, and cotton candy falls. However, Yunse tells him, "Don't be upset. You've done everything for me." She said, "What you've done to make me happy means most to me." Next day, Youngrok personally drops Yunse to her office for her safety. On way, car follows them, and man in car tries to take secret photos of her. Youngrok catches him, and they find out that he was working for Li Gang. Yunse directly calls Li Gang and tells him, "Don't try to interrupt my life." Li Gang replies, "You're becoming very bold, and I like this new side of you." That day, Yoonse's CEO had invited her to meet investor of upcoming drama. She was going to meet him happily because she had worked hard for this drama. But it is later revealed that secret investor was none other than Lee Gang. Seeing this, Yoonse's CEO gets angry, and Yoonse bravely tells him, "If you are investor, then I don't want to work in this drama." Lee Gang tells her, "I really like your boldness. By acting like this, you're only provoking me more." After that, Yoonse leaves. On outside, she seemed strong, but inside, she was breaking down. She goes home and cries. Meanwhile, Young-Rok learns something else through Kim. He's working on drug-related case and is searching for man named Ji-Hoo, who has an indirect connection to Lee Gang. Next day, Young-Rok brings Yoonse large stuffed toy. Yoonse then confesses that she joined law firm because of someone's influence. Young-Rok is not angry and says, "I'll always be on your side. I understand your situation and why you hid everything." Now, Yoonse has no reason to go back to office because she is no longer doing drama. Whole office learns this, and everyone is disappointed because they had grown fond of Yoonse. Young-Rok also becomes sad and starts missing her. However, 2 days later, Yoonse returns to office. Everyone is happy to see her, but she says, "I'm not here to work, I'm here as client." She gives Young-Rok some evidence and tells him, "Lee Gang is harassing me. I want to file case against him." Young-Rok is happy to hear this and says, "I will stand by your decision." And he drops her home. When she enters her house, it turns out that Lee Gang has secretly entered. Young-Rok sees one of her drivers outside and becomes suspicious. He turns car around and goes back inside. At that moment, when Lee Gang is harassing Yoonse like madman, Young-Rok arrives and beats him, knocking him to ground. He also says, "Stay away from my girl." Police are called, and Lee Gang is easily arrested. Young-Rok comforts Yoonse and says, Kim also has case against his associates, and this time, Lee Gang won't escape. Next day, Yoonse returns to office again and says, "I only have 2 weeks left, so why?" Now, Yoonse decides to wrap up her work properly on good note, so she continues working. She also decides to stay for remaining 3 months. Along with this, Yoonse's life starts to become more positive with Lee Gang being caught again. People are now seeing her in clearer, positive light and commenting favorably about her. As it becomes known that she has been struggling so hard for drama, people start recognizing her efforts. She even tried to immerse herself in character by working at law firm, and everyone starts giving her positive remarks. Yoonse is very happy because of all this. But then, someone casts an envious eye on their happiness, Yoonse's manager. He sees them together and realizes that they are dating. He goes to Yoonse and advises her, "Good news about you is starting to spread, but if rumors about your relationship get out, your public image will be ruined. You should either keep your romance secret or distance yourself from Young-Rok." Next day, writer and director of drama Love Hearts come to agency and cast Yoonse as main lead. She is thrilled, but as soon as she steps outside her office, media rushes towards her. Young-Rok, noticing this, quickly takes her aside and drops her home. He reassures her, saying, "Don't worry, today I'll be with you." He takes day off and spends it with her. This leads to Yoonse's CEO suspecting that something might be going on between Yoonse and Young-Rok. But no one agrees with him because they don't think Young-Rok is capable of dating such big star. Young-Rok spends entire day with Yoonse. They play games, take selfies, and spend quality time. In evening, Young-Rok drops her back home. However, Yoonse's manager calls Young-Rok and meets him privately. He tells him, "I've spent a lot of time with Yoonse. I've seen both her peak and downfall. Right now is critical time for her. If she gets caught in any scandal now, she may never recover. She's worked so hard for this drama. If she gets caught in love affair scandal with her boss, director may drop her from drama. For Yoonse's sake, you should distance yourself from her." Young-Rok feels devastated. He made decision to do anything for Yoonse. Anyway, today is Yoonse's last day at office. Everyone gathers for dinner to give her farewell, but Young-Rok doesn't show up. Later, he picks her up alone and takes her to give her private farewell. He takes her to watch her favorite movie. They enjoy film together in theater. Movie has sad ending, and as they step out, Young-Rok tells Yoonse, Just like girl in this movie went back to her world, you too are princess, and now you will. Go back to your world, and I want to stay in mine, he says, and with that, he talks about breaking up with her. However, he doesn't tell her real reason, that he is doing all of this to protect her. He leaves, saying goodbye while making her cry. Next day, manager learns about it, and although he feels bad, he knows it was necessary for Yunseo. Next day, Yunseo comes to office to clear her desk, but today, everything about Youngrock has changed. He's cold towards her, just like he did on first day. Seeing this, Yunseo is deeply hurt. For Youngrock too, this situation is difficult. He misses Yunseo High H friends Kim and Yurim are back together as couple. They ask him to join them for drinks and talk about Yunseo, but he replies, "We've broken up, so I don't want to be involved in all this." After that, Youngrock keeps himself busy with cases. But whenever he sees her photo, even on billboard, tears fill his eyes. Meanwhile, Yunseo has been taking on big projects again. Her popularity is at its peak, and she's even landed her dream drama, which is now in production. Youngrock keeps track of every news related to her. On the other hand, another problem arises in Youngrock's life. He learns that in last case he handled, an innocent man had been wrongfully accused of crime. Real criminal was mentally unstable person who had confessed to murder. In fact, innocent person had been trapped. Meanwhile, Yunseo's drama shoot involves breakup scene where she cries lot. Everyone is impressed by her acting, but in reality, she's remembering her breakup with Youngrock. One day, CEO finds out that Yunseo's drama is being filmed near courthouse, and he goes to meet her. Yunseo is very happy to see him and asks about everyone's well-being. Through this meeting, she learns indirectly that Youngrock is getting involved in case he had previously mishandled. Yunseo becomes very worried about Youngrock. Youngrock also has fight with his CEO attorney, who believes that this case could harm law firm's reputation. However, Youngrock insists that if he stays silent and doesn't fight case, he will never forgive himself. Youngrock ends up crying, missing Yunseo, because when no one was there for him, she always was. Next day, Youngrock goes to his CEO and submits his resignation letter. He says, "I don't want my actions to negatively affect law firm, so I'm leaving." However, both CEO and Youngrock were not just colleagues but friends, and when Kim finds out about this, he invites them for drinks. CEO tells Youngrock, "5 years ago, you got yourself into trouble, and I saved you and brought you into my law firm. Now, when you're in trouble again, I'm standing by you, no matter consequences. You are not leaving firm." Meanwhile, Yunseo is very worried about Youngrock. Although she doesn't ask him directly, she stays in touch with everyone around him to find out about his situation. One day, she gathers courage to call him, but Youngrock coldly responds her. She finds an excuse to visit his office, but again, Youngrock says to her, "Maybe you've forgotten, but we broke up, so there should be some distance from Yunseo, as she gets heartbroken easily." Even manager felt sad seeing her distressed because he blamed himself for everything. After this, Youngrock's case begins, which was very difficult for him. Collecting evidence was also hard, but after a lot of struggle and with help of his friends, he proves innocence of man, and actual criminals are caught. News of case spreads like wildfire in media, and everyone is praising Youngrock and his law firm for standing by truth. After this, Yunseo calls him to meet and congratulates him, saying, "Tell me truth, why did you break up with me? I never wanted to lose you, and to this day, I haven't been able to get over you. If you made any sacrifice for me, I can live without it, but not without you." Hearing this, Youngrock couldn't resist and kisses her while saying, "I love you." Afterward, Yunseo takes him to her house and tells how many sleepless nights she had. Youngrock apologizes, saying that everything was for her safety. Two of them sleep in same bed, but there's pillow boundary between them. Next morning, Yunseo is making breakfast for him when suddenly her manager arrives. To hide Youngrock, Yunseo makes him go into washroom. But since manager also needs to use washroom, he goes in and finds Youngrock hiding there. Poor Youngrock gets drenched in water and has to change his clothes. He ends up wearing football t-shirt belonging to manager. When Youngrock gets home, Kim, his friend, notices and says, "You were out all night. Looks like you were playing football or working out. You're so heartbroken from breakup with Yunseo. You might end up getting sick." Kim starts worrying about him, but he doesn't know that Yoongrok has patched things up. Now, Yoonseo needs legal advisor for her drama. First, CEO attorney wanted to go, but Yoongrok suggested that he go instead, and he got more votes. Actually, he wanted to spend some time with his girlfriend, so Yoonseo was shocked, but also happy to see him there. While they were talking, manager arrived again. Yoongrok would often visit Yoonseo's shoots, watching how she acted and helping her, all while trying to get closer to her. Meanwhile, CEO wanted to go to shoot as well, but because of Yoongrok, he couldn't. He casually mentions to Yoongrok, "I heard some gossip about main lead of drama. He's bit a flirt, and there's also gossip about amazing chemistry between him and Yoonseo. Are they becoming couple?" Hearing this, Yoongrok becomes extremely jealous. When he searches online, he finds that lead actor of drama is given nickname Kiss Master and has romantic scene with Yoonseo. Next day, when Yoongrok goes to shoot, there is scene outside court where Yoonseo is supposed to kiss her co-actor. Yoongrok tries everything to stop scene, even saying, "No, this will be disrespectful to court. Let's change it." In scene, handshake takes place, but kissing is not acceptable. However, shortly after, he spots two prosecutors romancing in courthouse cafeteria, and it turns out that they are none other than Kim and Urium. This sight embarrasses him, and at first, no one believes it. But she convinces everyone that it is true. Upon hearing this, CEO of firm is so heartbroken that he burns his hand on burner. Afterward, Yoonseo tells Yoongrok that she wants their relationship to have no secrets. Slowly, they plan to reveal their relationship. As for drama, she says it's only her profession, and her real feelings are only for him. Yoongrok, kissing her, asks if he can cross line today, and of course, she agrees. Next morning, Yoongrok is making breakfast for Yoonseo, which makes her happy. Later, when he returns, Kim gets upset seeing him, as he has been working out all night. It seems Yoonseo is having trouble moving on from his broken heart. Kim and Urium decide to set their friend up on blind date, hoping he might find good girl. Meanwhile, attorney Yo is struggling with his burned hand and angrily confronts Yoongrok, questioning how he could have kept secret romance for so long. Yoongrok's friends had invited him over, but instead, they sent him girl for blind date. Yoonseo arrives just in time and gets angry upon seeing this. To make matters worse, Yoongrok starts liking girl. Yoonseo pulls him aside and scolds him, asking why he's so charming, so handsome, and why everyone falls for him. Yoongrok enjoys her jealousy, and Yoonseo later does live stream where she asks some questions. Yoongrok answers her questions, which leads her to realize that he is her boyfriend. Later, Yoonseo has to go abroad for month-long shooting. Although distance grows between them, they stay connected over phone. Yoongrok never imagined that he would fall so deeply in love. That serious, sober attorney would now act like teenager, madly in love with his girlfriend. One day, Yoongrok sees gossip news stating that Yoonseo is secretly dating lead actor from her drama. This breaks his heart, but his colleagues reassure him that it's just gossip and not true. Yoongrok doesn't care much about gossip, but Yoonseo becomes very worried. When she returns, he is not answering her calls, and she thinks he is upset with her. But when she reaches home, Yoongrok has surprise ready for her and warmly welcomes her. He tells her that he is ready for any scandal and that he trusts her completely. Afterward, Yoonseo takes Yoongrok shopping and selects best dress for him. She dresses him in suit and takes him somewhere special, onto red carpet, marking his grand entry after long time. There, she announces to world that she has boyfriend, and he is none other than attorney Yoongrok. Yoongrok represents their love in front of everyone. Yoonseo cherishes him deeply. Happy ending. Thank you for watching Kong Recap.